auspicious launch of the Kenya Apple Growers and Exporters Association, that is KAGEA. And we are delighted to have Madam Mary of Pioneer Assurance, who will be telling us about the services, the products and the opportunities that Pioneer Assurance has for the apple farmers in Kenya. Karibu sana, Madam Mary.
Asante sana.
Would you please tell us a little bit about yourself and about Pioneer Insurance?
My name is Mary Wawera, Pioneer Assurance Company. Let me start by saying that we are privileged to be with the KAGEA apple growing company. I come from Pioneer Assurance Company, and Pioneer Assurance Company, as the name suggests, Pioneer was the very first insurance company to start in East Africa Central. We've been partnering with all the institutions, and right now we are partnering also with farmers. Since you know farmers do not have a pay slip or a salary to be able to be saving, we have policies that can enable them come together to build Kenya and the farming at large. Since you find most of the guys do not know more about savings, so we have policies, flexi policies that will enable them save for their future, save for their children educations, save for anything that they want for their future. Right now we have a policy, we are calling it Suluhu Mkononi. Suluhu is a solution in your hands. You can save, you can be saving every day. You only dial star 887 hash and it will welcome you to the portal of Pioneer Assurance Company. Yeah.
So Suluhu Mkononi is an opportunity for a farmer to be able to save, even to be able to get their farm inputs through Pioneer Insurance. Asante sana, Madam Mary.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The auspicious launch event for the Kenya Apple Growers and Exporters Association, and Madam Anne will be letting us know about great opportunities that are available for apple farmers from Greco Limited. Karibu, Madam Anne.
Thank you
tell us
so
a little
much.
bit about yourself.
My name is Anne Wambugu. I work at Greco Limited. Greco Limited is an irrigation company that deals with irrigation. Our main office is here in Nairobi, but we have branches countrywide. We have a branch in Meru, Nyeri, Kisumu, Nyahururu, Mombasa. Yeah, that's why we have outlets here in Kenya. Well, we deal with different irrigation systems, from drip irrigation systems, button drip irrigation system. We also have the sprinklers, overhead sprinklers. We have the micro sprinkler, butterfly sprinkler, the rain gun sprinklers. We do also the pipes and pipe fittings. We construct greenhouses, solar dryers. We have the seedling trays, the water pumps. Yeah, basically we deal with irrigation. And I can see today we are dealing with the apples. We have an irrigation system for apples, specifically the button drippers irrigation system and the micro sprinkler irrigation system. This is the button dripper irrigation system. You need an elevated tank, at least 2 meters, the main line, and now we call them the 16 millimeters HDB pipes and the button drippers together with the fittings. Yeah, this can work with an elevated tank. This is the micro sprinkler. You can also use it for irrigation. And this one needs pressure, at least 1.5 to 3 bar. The flow rate, I forgot to tell, the flow rate for this is 1 to 70 liters per hour. This one is 55 to 110 liters per hour. With this, you need pressure. With this, you can work with an elevated tank.
Okay. Yeah. So, Madam Anne, for the farmers who are here today, this is really great news for them.
Yeah, exactly.
You said, where can they find you?
They can find us here in Nairobi. We are at Utawala, opposite GSU. It's close to Naivas Supermarket. And we have branches countrywide in Nyeri, Nyahururu, as I've said, Meru. They can come visit us in Kisumu and Mombasa. They are much welcome. We will irrigate your farm to life.
Asante sana, Madam Anne. So, apple farmers in Kenya, please check out Greco Limited for your irrigation needs. Thank you. delighted to introduce you to Isaac Ito. So Isaac Ito, please tell us a bit about yourself.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm really enjoying this event today. My name is Isaac Itoho. I'm an engineer by background, but I have great interest in farming. And I do a little farming on in Moranga, actually Maragua near Sama, and I do farm bananas and mangoes.
Okay, so Isaac, being a farmer who's already in fruits, what's your interests with apples and what's been your interaction with the Wambugu apples?
Yeah, most of the time when we go to the supermarket, we buy foreign apples. I see always they are South Africa or some far places. We don't have apples, as much apples in Kenya. And and we all eat apples. We make fruit salads. We really enjoy, and we can crunch them as they are in whole. They're easy when you're going on a safari to carry clean ones, and you go munching them as you drive along. So that's why I got interested in finding more about apples.
Okay, so far, since your interest, what's been your journey with Wambugu apples?
All right, yes, that's a very interesting question. I saw on the internet a Kate talking about apples, and I contacted her, and then I also got to meet on phone Matthew, and they visited our shamba, and they looked around, and they were looking at a few things there, so I just let them walk around. And the things they were looking at later, they were telling me, is that they're looking at the terrain and the suitability of the soil, and they encouraged us to try and do about 100 or so plants or 200 of them, depending on the amount we can prepare the shamba for.
Okay, so today we are at the Kenya Apple Growers and Exporters Association, KAGEA launch. So far at the conference today, what have you been able to pick and what can you take away with you?
Oh, it's so much here. There's such a great network that I've been talking to people who are like me. Like I stated, I have not grown apples as yet, but I have done the homework. My 230 holes are ready. They got manure. I have reported them to, taken photos and sent back to Kate and showed her that this is what we have, and they're happy with that. We're ready to plant, but we said we'll plant after this conference. And here I've been talking to people who are just like me. They haven't planted, and then also I've met people who have planted 1,000 trees. So I have connections, and I plan to take my team to visit them so that we don't have the mistakes maybe they went through, if you can say it that way, so that they speed up. And I see a great warmth in trying to help people to move on, people like us who are beginners. So it's a very good, the number one thing you gain here is the network.
Okay, and with the network comes the expansion and at the same time of knowledge, the expansion of opportunities. The Apple Growers and Exporters Association, export for Kenya. Based on your background, what do you see as the opportunity when it comes to growth of exports as a country?
Yeah, there are two elements I see here. First of all, we'll supply the local market, and I know the demand outside there of apples is very, very huge, because apples have other products as they are used at apple cider for flavoring food and drinks, and that can happen, which first of all, therefore the market is so large out there, we'll go that way, and then we'll transfer technology in future. I see that happening as we grow more. But the export market is so huge, we can't fill it up either in the next 5 or 10 years.
Okay, quite encouraging, I think, Isaac, when you say that the export market is quite huge. So more and more aspiring apple growers, there's room, and a networking opportunity like this is just a way to come and share together, mentor each other, and be able to grow together.
You've summarized it so well. Exactly, that's what it is.
Okay, thank you very much, Isaac, for your time.
I'm honored to have been able to talk to you. Thank you.
You see it. She's not my sister, she's my elder. God bless you so much. When you see my beauty, you know the source.
Today's is on the 14th day of October in the year 2022, and we are at the auspicious launch event for the Kenya Apple Growers and Exporters Association, that is KAGEA, and we are delighted to be hosting for this interview Mr. Barak Granot, who is the Minister Counselor, the Head of Economic and Trade Mission, the Embassy of Israel in Kenya.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And as we may be aware, Israel is very advanced in the areas of agriculture, trade, security, and probably, let's name it, any sectors we may be considering. So Mr. Barak, we can start from there. If you may kindly let us know about Israel and just this innovation bug that we may say Israel is a very innovative country. If you may please just give us an insight into that.
Okay. Israel innovation, it comes from a necessity. And as a result of the challenges that we as a country had to face since our establishment in 1948, we had to come up with an innovative solution in order to survive. So when it comes to medical solutions, when it comes to defense-related and homeland security solutions, when it comes to cyber threats and how to protect the vital infrastructure in Israel from this threat, and in agriculture as well. In the early 50s, the government of Israel has founded and launched a gigantic project taking water from the Sea of Galilee up north and to the desert in the southern part of Israel. It's 250 kilometers of canals that provide water from the more arid, watery areas of the north to the more arid and semi-arid parts of the country, thus allowing us to provide water and source of living to all parts of Israel, to all the population of Israel. Later on, we've come up with more and more solutions to preserve waters like drip irrigations, and found new techniques and solutions of how to get more crops per drops and save on water. And even during the drought that we had several years ago, we came up with 5 desalination plants on the Mediterranean Sea that provide all the water needs of Israel and then some. So today we are providing water to the Palestinian Authority and to the Jordanian Kingdom because we have a surplus of water. And that's quite unique for a country that has an average of 350 millimeters of water per year. So agriculture in Israel is not not dependent on rain. It's dependent on good, solid infrastructure that provide high pressure water through the drip irrigation solution that we have spread it all over the country. And it's just the way we live.
Okay. Interestingly, necessity is the mother of invention.
Innovation, absolutely.
And innovation,
Yes.
at this particular point. So in Kenya, what is the Embassy of Israel mainly involved in, especially in the areas that relate to economic and trade as a mission?
So the embassy itself is involved in a variety of projects, cultural, agricultural, international collaboration kind of projects. But with your permission, I will focus on my role as the head of the economic and trade mission at the embassy. We are here in order to generate greater collaboration between Kenyan and Israeli companies to connect between any needs that the Kenyan company or Kenyan farmer has with the solution that Israel probably has a way to provide. Not any solution that exists in Israel is suitable for the Kenyan soil or the Kenyan infrastructure naturally. That's why we're here in order to understand the challenges and the pain point of a Kenyan company or a Kenyan farmer and scout for the most suitable solution from the Israeli industry. We aspire to generate more business and economic collaboration between our countries. Today, the volume of trays is approximately $60 million a year, and I see no reason why we cannot go beyond $100 million in the upcoming years. So we are organized incoming delegation and outgoing delegation. We organize meetings between Israeli companies and Kenyan companies, sometimes in the virtual arena through Zoom and other programs, or through exhibition happening in Düsseldorf in Germany, or the MWC in Barcelona, or the upcoming Agritech that's going to take place in the month of May in Israel, with hundreds of Israeli exhibitors and thousands of delegates from all over the world that specialize or interested in farming and agricultural solutions.
And if we may probably explore the Agritech exhibition that is upcoming. Now that we are here for the launch of KAGEA, and we have now apple growers in Kenya, and also growing as a community of also as exporters. What's the opportunity in terms of being able to be part of the Agritech exhibition? What is there to learn, or what is there to share? Who might be there for networking that may be of interest now for the Kenyan apple growers sector?
That's an interesting question, and the Agritech exhibition is not only relevant for the Apple Association. It can be relevant for avocado or any other crop that's being grown here in Kenya. We have solutions for water management, drip irrigations, post-harvesting, fertilizers, drones that are being used in order to monitor the soil and to give live data to the farmers of how much to water or what is the condition of the crops. So many sensors. It all depends on what you want, how much you'd like to invest and what you're interested in. Israel actually grows apple in the northern parts of Israel, in the Galil Heights, not far from the Sea of Galilee. And we also grow bananas and pineapples and kiwis and avocados and so many other crops. And that despite the fact that Israel is not rainfall in Israel is relatively very low, and Israel is either arid or semi-arid country. We find solutions with the right warehouses, farmhouses. All kinds of innovative techniques in order to get the crops growing.
And the KAGEA aims to be the center of the development of apple growing in Africa.
Yeah.
What words of wisdom would you probably share with the association as the work grows across Africa and also into the world, coming especially from just the experiences of Israel as a country with the science-based agriculture?
So as you mentioned, Israel is a science-backed agriculture. In Israel, agriculture is not a tradition. It's all based on research and development and science. And we can, and I'm positive that we'll be able to provide innovation solutions, know-how, and technologies, and not only to KAGEA, which was founded today, but to any other farming association here in Kenya and all over Africa. We aspire to share our knowledge with the world, share our technologies with the world, not only for business, pure business purposes, but in order to in a way to feed the world, to help others to grow more crops per drop, or to improve their methods of growing agriculture, horticulture, and so forth. Israel is a world leader even in dairy farming. So any aspect of agriculture, I'm sure will be able any farmer will be able to find the most suitable solution for them. And we are here as an economic and trade mission at the Embassy of Israel to assist any farmers who wishes to travel to Israel to do so in the most professional manner and with less struggle as possible.
And today with the Kenya Apple Growers and Exporters Association launch event, it's been a full conference day. What perhaps have been the key takeaways for you, even as you are from the Embassy of Israel, from the discussions that either have gone on here or as you've been having networking? What are some key things that have been messages that you can take away with you today?
I would surprise you by saying that it was not a pure professional thing that I'm taking with me. Is the atmosphere, the spirit, the positive vibes in a business conference. I've never seen anything like that before in my life. I've been in conferences, business-oriented conferences, of course in Israel, but also in Barcelona or Düsseldorf, Germany, or India. I've lived in India for 5 years, and I've never experienced such a vivid and positive vibes in a business. What's supposed to be a business serious kind of conference. It was very, very nice and heartwarming to see how Kenyans are able to mix between humor and fun with business, and I'm looking forward to enjoy that kind of atmosphere throughout my tenure that just began a few months ago.
Okay, as we welcome Mr. Barat Granot to Kenya, now that his tenure is really fresh and as fresh as the Wambugu apples, then I think the key message from our conversation is just as the tagline for the Kenya Apple Growers and Exporters Association, because we care. I think that's really just the spirit that you're saying you received today.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for this conversation. Yes, God bless you.
I've been to conferences all over the world, in Barcelona, Düsseldorf, Germany, in India, but I've never experienced such a positive vibe in a business conference. This is amazing to see here.
Our Jamaican neighbors who have come for the launch of KAGEA. I welcome you, Junior, today.
Thank you.
And I welcome you, Sheldon.
Thanks for having us.
Yes. And we will be able to hear from Junior and Sheldon, who are originally from Jamaica, on what is their interest when it comes to apple growing, and also specifically what's been their interaction with the Wambugu apple. So Junior, you may kindly introduce yourself a bit more and let us know who you are, what's your background, and what's your interests in this field.
Okay, my name is Junior Witter, originally from the south coast of Jamaica, which is known as the breadbasket of Jamaica. So I pretty much grow with farming all around me. Things like thyme, scallion, pineapple, carrots, they all grow in that area. So farming is in my blood. I didn't take it up at an early age, but it was always there. Both my parents were farmers. So I've always had farming as an interest, but I've got an entrepreneurial thinking. So I wanted to do farming on a different scale from how they do it. But the idea was to come to Africa to do it, because Africa's got 60% of the world's arable land. Back in Jamaica, there's not so much land. It's by accident I heard about Wambugu. First dismissed it, I thought somebody was smoking too much weed, apple growing in Africa. So I dismissed it, but it keep popping up. So I decided, you know what, let me do a bit of research on it. And then I saw Kate on YouTube, and then I started following her, and I said, oh, we can do that, because I'm always interested in food farming on a large scale. I like doing things on a large scale, and you do it once and then you benefit from it year after year, creating generational wealth. So that was how we ended up in Kenya, because Kenya is like one of the top countries for agribusiness in Africa. But we originally wanted to go and do it in Ghana, because Ghana's got fast, cheap lands. So our journey here today was to do research on Wambugu apples and what we could do in terms of that.
Okay, thank you very much, Junior. Sheldon, you have an agricultural background in your studies. Could you just tell us a bit more, what's been behind the scenes for you to even getting up to here?
So similarly, where Junior grew up in Jamaica, that's actually where the school I went to, the agricultural school I went to was based. So this was after high school. I went there and I studied for 3 years. That was back in the 90s. And then I left and I went to live in the UK, which is where I met Junior, in the UK. And we've been friends for over 22 years. And likewise now, we're also business partners. We've got a business in Jamaica. That's also environmentally connected. It's a kind of waste management, garbage collection company. So we're both good friends, and we're also business partners. This is actually my 3rd time in Kenya. So I've been here a couple of times before, so I'm quite familiar with the country. It's Junior's 1st time. But being the entrepreneurs that we are, we were looking at agricultural businesses because we know 2 things. A lot of young people don't really go into agriculture, on large scale, and the interest that the younger generation have is not there. So we thought, let's go and at least we can show people of our age that agriculture can also be enjoyable, because people don't want to get their hands dirty. We don't mind, and the potential is also there as well. So we thought, let's arrange a trip, come to Kenya, and just to find a bit more about the Wambugu apple. As Junior said before, he's come across it a few times, so we thought, let's come and check, visit the farms, and possibly meet Kate, which we were lucky enough to come and meet her. We went up to the farm in Nanyuki. She wasn't there, so we spoke to her before, and she said she was in Nairobi. So when we came back, we met her. But yeah, so far, so good. We're quite impressed, not just with the quality of the apple itself, but also the network and the family, as I call it, that she's trying to build in terms of pushing this particular product forward. So yeah, that's my interest, and I'm also trying to hopefully like to get us involved with the association itself, not just be a member. I want to be an active member, an involved member. So that's us so far, basically.
Okay. Yeah, thank you both. And so today with the Kenya Apple Growers and Exporters Association launch, there's been a full conference day here at the Nairobi Ole Sereni Hotel. I'd be curious from both of you, what have you been able to get from today's conference? What have what's been either new for you, or what insights have you been able to receive from the presentations that have been ongoing, or even from the networking that you've been able to have today? We can start with you, Sheldon.
Yeah. What I've been impressed with is the framework so far, in terms of the work that Matthew and the organization has done, in terms of, because with farms and businesses, you always need finance and capital. So he's partnered with the bank, which is good. So I like that factor, and also with ensuring that the apples meet international standard with Ellen, the Israeli company. So I'm quite impressed, and just looking across the room, I can see lots of lovely, beautiful people, which I hope I can meet as much as possible. So we like the idea of family, and as the Kenyans say, umoja, unity, because we believe unity is strength, and we have to work together. That way we can achieve much more. So I like that aspect of joining the family, the KAGEA family. So those are the things so far that we've been impressed with. And even Kate herself and Matthew, they've made us feel quite welcome, even though we've not officially joined the family. But it feels like we've already joined ages ago. So those are the things we've been most impressed with.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Sheldon. Yeah, Junior, for you, what's been the great takeaways or insights from the conference day today?
Today, for me as well, as Sheldon said, the financial insight to it. A lot of times, agriculture is neglected. So banks don't want to touch it. Banks don't want to touch farmers. They think it's too risky. So I was quite impressed with the presentations from the banks. So and they're willing to support the farmers so that you can build a system which benefit everybody. I was also impressed. I didn't expect the launch to be so big. I thought it was a lot smaller, but I'm really impressed how big it is. in terms of what they do, the network, the marketing, which is based in the UK where we are as well. So I'm really impressed with that. So it gives a sense of confidence or assurance that, you know what, if you go out there, take the risk and farm it, the risk is minimized because you've got a buyer, you've got people who are higher up, you've got a bank who's willing to lend to you, you've got other people who's farming with you where you can get information from, you can call somebody up and say, I've got this issue, can you help? So I'm really impressed with that, and I think that's the best way to go, because as I was saying to Kate the other day, prepare themselves for the backlash. The Americans are going to come after them because this is going to threaten them. This apple can grow anywhere, especially here in Africa, which has got the land, which they don't have, and they don't have the resources or the labor. They're going to come after them. They're not going to come after them directly, but policy-wise, they will come to the government to try and do it. And I said it to my friend, he said, prepare yourself, because this is going to threaten them. An apple growing in Africa, the second largest continent, they're not going to sit well with them. So I'm really impressed. I think that's the best way to go to associations so they can't isolate.
A strong network.
Yeah, you can't isolate one person and then weaken the association. So as a team, I think it's in good sense. And it's not just in Africa, which is what I'm impressed with. I've been told it's in 17 countries at the moment, so I'm quite impressed with that. I've been told, I was on the phone a couple of days ago, there's about 15 farmers in Jamaica waiting. In fact, one of the farmers is only about a mile from where I'm from. I didn't even know he was farming it. He saw my picture with Kate and he recognized her. So what are you doing in Kenya? So even that, with the network of it, I'm really impressed by that, because it shows me that people are recognizing the potential of this apple. So I was really impressed with that. I was so happy to be here, and it's a lot more than I expected.
I really would like to thank you. We've had today with us Sheldon Marchant and Junior Weta from Jamaica, who have come to be able to be with and part of the growing Wambugu apple family. And at the same time, they've been able to share into the networking and into the growth of the Kenya Apple Growers and Exporters Association. Key message from this conversation: Umoja ni nguvu. United, we become stronger. I'd like to thank you and wish you a good travel when you go back home.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Investors, people who have invested in farming, especially in the apple farming, it's a very unique product. We have got people from nearly all over the world. We have got people from Jamaica. If you are there, you can wave our guest from Jamaica. Okay, maybe she's coming from Grenada.
I welcome you today to our short discussion with Madame Ophelia, who's from the Caribbean. And today is on the 14th day of October in the year 2022. And we are at the Nairobi Ole Sereni Hotel for the auspicious launch of the Kenya Apple Growers and Exporters Association, that is KAGEA. Madame Ophelia has come all the way from the Caribbean to be able to join this event for apple growers and exporters in Kenya, and we're really looking forward to know what's the opportunity either for the Caribbean, what's the opportunity for Africa from her perspective. Welcome, Ophelia, and could you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
It's my privilege to be interviewed by you, and I am from the lovely island of Grenada. It's known as the Spice Island of the Caribbean. But I also represent not just myself, but all the Caribbean islands. Why I would say that is because this initiative of actually cultivating apples it's something that is new to our region, the Caribbean region, and because the islands of the Caribbean are joined together through the CARICOM, and they're also part of an organization called the OECS. We are united in finding ways to solve the issues that we face as the islands, right? And this project of apple growing joins us to Africa. It's something that the Caribbean islands, we see ourselves as being part of Africa. Why? Because our heritage comes from there. And we've longed to find a way to reconnect with the motherland, we say, right? We've had some countries which have had close ties, very close ties with Africa over the years, and Jamaica. And Jamaica has also, a large group of farmers from Jamaica has been very much involved in becoming part of the apple growing society, especially Wambugu growing Wambugu apples. And by extension, myself from Grenada, and I've been able to get other persons interested also. Now, we are exploring this. I'm here in order that we can explore the technical part of actually cultivating apples, to know what is involved. We've never seen the plant. We don't know what it is like to grow it, but we know that it's growing here. And to make this project actually happen, we saw that it's very much needful for us to be here, to experience it, and also to connect the persons who are actually growing apples already, so that we can have the kind of support that we need in order to make this a feasible venture. It may be that one day we will be an extension of this association, where we can also supply Wambugu apples, not just to the chain of islands, the people who live there, but also to the Western world. And so we are looking forward to all that. And we know that as bright as the prospects are for you in Kenya, it will also be bright for us when we get to the point where we can be producing large quantities of apples.
It's quite interesting that you're already talking about the extensions and, having an African footing and the extensions now even into your region. You are already a farmer. What's the experience for you? What are you farming, and what's been the experience for you?
Okay. I would not say that I am a long-standing, experienced farmer. I have some certification in agriculture, and I've done subsistence farming, and I'm just beginning to start farming on a commercial level, doing fruit trees. My trees are very young, and I'm still taking care of them. And I'm looking forward now, not just to grow fruit trees that are native to my land, and I would say common, because most people would be actually growing them. But when you look at what is happening in the world today with the things that has arisen because of the war in Russia, sometimes it's difficult to have things transported from one country to the other. For instance, right now there's a shortage of sugar in our country, and these kind of things make me recognize that there is a need for diversification of the crops that are grown. And I was amazed when I found out that apples can grow in tropical regions, and that there are varieties that can grow in even semi-arid conditions. Grenada generally does not have semi-arid conditions, but we have sufficient rainfall to make this very meaningful, so that we would not have to be we don't have much issue with irrigation and so forth. So I'm seeing this as something that can lead to providing food and cutting back on the exportation of apples, which all our apples are exported. It comes from Chile and Canada and so forth, and a lot of these deciduous fruits, almost all the deciduous fruits come from the larger, more established, the first world countries. And we need to do something to cut that back, keep some money within our country, provide our own, which would definitely be healthier, because the apples that come into our country, they're sprayed and so on to give it a longer shelf life. And it's for the health, it's for food security. It can also become a benefit economically for farmers. You know, most farming is looked at as something, it's for the poor. And if the poor can find a niche where they can find how should I put it? That is, it just slipped me, but anyway, they like find a niche, yes, an industry that can be not just viable, but give them a good source of income and raise their standard of living. To me, that is my goal. My personal goal is to supply these plants to farmers, landowners who are low income and who really need an industry that is lucrative. I would love to see some farmers have that opportunity and be able to make something for themselves, not just for this generation, but also for the generations to come.
That's quite an interesting perspective from Ophelia Granger Samuel, who's from the Caribbean and has attended the Kenya Association for the Kenya Apple Growers and Exporters Association launch in Nairobi, Kenya. And I think what I hear from you strongly is the opportunity for diversification by producers in the regions that we're in, sustainability of production, yes, and also self-sufficiency. Yes. And I think those are very, very huge conversations, and I think it'd be a great delight to just know that the Wambugu apples are able to enable the farmers to achieve this. Is there anything else from you?
Well, it's a pleasure to be here and to have that opportunity to share. And I'm looking forward to KAGEA taking the Wambugu apple and maybe other fruits. Well, I shouldn't say other fruits, but apples, and maybe in time, you know, other persons are doing dragon fruits and so on, right? Joining this whole food production to be able to provide for farmers to be able to get the maximum benefits of their labors. This is something I've been very much concerned about. That you know, in the chain of marketing, and well, I'm not so much on that. I don't have expertise in that area, but as a layman, I can see that often when crops are very lucrative, you find you have a middleman who would find themselves in the place where they would try to offer the farmers something so they can get the crops off their hand, but really what they do is that they take it and they make all the millions with it, and the farmers are left with little or nothing and remain almost in poverty. And I'm looking forward for this association to provide for these farmers who are putting in all their resources and have put in all the interest, because for myself, I couldn't find much persons to give support to start, and I know there are a lot of persons who couldn't find the support to start. And so it was a hard start, and to have a hard start and have someone rip you up at the end of the marketing chain is something else. So I'm happy that this association is being formed so that the farmers can really benefit from this enterprise.
Okay. And with that, I think KAGEA's work is well cut out. That mentorship and support is actually what is being sought for from the Kenya Apple Growers and Exporters Association as we launch today. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I moved too early.
Mr. Wambugu, he looks like my dad. But more than that, I'm thankful that I can be part of this, representing my country, and also having the joy of seeing apples grow upon the land that God has given to me, and in extension, the land that God has given to us in the Caribbean, the Isles of the Caribbean.
We have with us Mr. Katike Darje, who is an apple grower in Kenya, and he's based in Kajiado County at at Isinya. The name of his farm is Keystone Farms. Mr. Darji has been an apple grower for at least 5 years now, and we will be able to have insights from Mr. Darji on what his experiences have been. Mr. Darji, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Wangari.
Yes.
I would like to share for the information of the viewers that apple farming is really profitable if you take it as a long-term project and be passionate about it. Do not expect short-term results, but yes, definitely it's rewarding. My experiences are that you need to be dedicated, you need to be full-time giving attention to your farm and to the trees. It involves like starting with a small tree, like a baby, how you look after your baby. You have to make sure it's watered on time, it's given the nutrients on time. You take care, make sure if there are any pests and diseases, you immediately get the organic pests to treat with them. Like at our farm, we've never used any chemical pesticides as such. We use organic like neem leaves, garlic, chilies, cow urine and all that mixed, and we spray and it works wonderfully.
So at Keystone Farms, for you to be farming the Wambugu apple for the last 5 years, could you please take us a little bit back and just tell us, where did this journey start? How did it start? Yeah.
Okay, it all started, I would say, accidentally. As I had an accident, I fell down, I broke my leg, and I had the time to do some research online, and that's when I learned about Wambugu apples. And because I had the resources of land, so I said I would go for this. The other reason being that while during my accident period, I was eating apples given by the family, but those apples were full of chemicals. And I said, these are not really good for me, so how can they be good for others? And that's where the idea came that I will grow my apples, eat my own apples, and make sure all the Kenyans and the people in the world will get organic apples.
This is an interesting accident, and has it been a profitable journey then, from that accident?
Yes, I think as we say, everything happens for a reason. So in terms of profitability, yes, you learned a lot of experiences, gained a lot of knowledge, because my background is not that of a farmer, but at least today as I talk, I am able to understand and do things on my own, and at least I'll be able to guide somebody, let's do it this way. So definitely it's been a profitable in terms of knowledge and gaining yourself motivation and doing things the right way.
Okay. And when it comes to the aspect of farming as a business, what can you tell us about your experience specifically with the Wambugu apple, now that you've had it for some time on the farm, it being a worthwhile business venture to be in?
Sure, I would say the earlier term used was agriculture, but now I like calling it agribusiness. And like any other business, as I said in the beginning, you must be dedicated, you must be focused, and you need to do the things the right way, get experts to help you, and to make sure that you're going the right way. And the experts are the Wambugu family who did all this. And with their liaison and cooperation with them, I've been able to be where I am today.
Okay. Since starting to farm 5 years ago, and the Wambugu apple takes 9 months to be able to now flourish. What's been your experience in terms of how much you're able to harvest just over the years? Has that been increasing? Is it consistent?
Yeah, as has been said by the promoters and also from my own experience, the trees start fruiting at 9 months, but generally it's advisable not to let them fruit at the first. You deflower the plant so that it gains the strength to become a strong plant. As it grows, maybe from the first year, second year, you start taking the number of fruits. Depending on the care and attention you are giving, each tree would give you about, starting with say 30 in the first year to 50, 100, 400, 300, depending on the care you take of the plant.
And I hear from you that there is need for attention to this, not just as agriculture, but as agribusiness, just as you take care of any other business. So today, during the Kenya Apple Growers and Exporters Association, KAGEA's launch event, there have been a lot of learnings through the conference. What have been your three key takeaways that you could share with any other grower here in Kenya?
Well, first of all, I'm grateful for having attended today's event of the launch of KAGEA. And the things I would like to advise any other apple grower is always be patient, do things the right way. That is, make sure from the word go you get the correct seedlings from the certified suppliers, because there could be many others in the market, but in the long run it is you who will suffer. And number three, take this as a serious business and definitely it will reward you.
Okay, so thank you for joining us in this particular interview with Mr. Katike Darji.
I'm sure by the end of my message, I'll be able to motivate those people sitting on the fence to make a decision to start planting apples.
I welcome you to our interview today with Sir Professor Ambrose Kiprop, who is the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, Planning and Strategy at the Moi University in Kenya. Today is on the 14th day of October in the year 2022, and we are at the Nairobi Ole Sereni Hotel for the official launch of the Kenya Apple Growers and Exporters Association. Welcome to our discussion, Sir Professor Ambrose Kiprop.
Thank you, Madam.
And today we will be having a discussion focusing on higher education institutions and how they can be able to engage with industry. And uniquely today, we have the launch of the Kenya Apple Growers and Exporters Association, which is KAGEA. The Moi University is already one of the growers and one of the large-scale growers of the Wambugu apples in Kenya. And during this brief interview, you will have an opportunity to be able to learn about the Moi University experience as a higher education institution. Sir Professor Ambrose Kiprop, before I go any further, you have been knighted by the French government. Could you please tell us exactly what that means, and then you can highlight to us what is your role at the university and also the World Bank project that you're involved in?
Okay, thank you so much for your question. I would say that yes, I was knighted by the French government on the 17th of June this year. So the French ambassador came all the way to Eldoret to award me that award, and it is actually in the French, they call it Le Palme Académique, which is actually an equivalent of knighthood Biasa. And that's why now in my name, Sir Professor Ambrose Kiprop. I'm currently the Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of Administration, Planning and Strategy. At the same time, I'm also the Director for the Resource Mobilization, Enterprise Development and Institutional Advancement. And I'm also running and leading a World Bank funded project, which is the Africa Center of Excellence in Phytochemicals, Textile and Renewable Energy, which is among the 3 funded projects by the World Bank in Kenya and 24 in the entire Eastern and Southern Africa. And yes, we also host an incubation center, which is among the 4 in the entire Eastern and Southern Africa.
You actually then handle quite a vast docket as an academic person, and that's a curiosity that we would have as a higher education institution. What's the opportunity of linkages with industry, or what's the new way of linkages with industry, which can be an opportunity even for a body like the KAGEA today?
Yeah, Thank you. As a university, we have really embraced the collaboration or the partnership between the academia and the industry. And this launch for the KAGEA is one very important kind of opportunity for us to work with industry. And just to mention one of the partnerships that we have also established in the past is by working with a renewable energy company. And in this, our students and researchers, they engage with the industry, and then we try to offer solutions to the challenges that they face. And in this, you find that we offer, while doing research, we are able to provide solutions that are relevant to the industry. And in this one of the KAGEA, you may have realized that Moi University is involved in apple farming. And I want to believe that we are the first institution to pioneer in apple farming. And we chose the Wambugu apples because of its massive yield in terms of fruits, and then also the suitability and adaptability test that we undertook. And by working with them, we are able to come up with a better variety, probably also be able to cut down on the duration for the yield, for the yielding of the fruits. As we know at the moment, Wambugu apples are yielding fruits after 9 months. But we want to believe that by engaging our researchers at the university, then we should be able to bring that time duration to be shorter.
Okay. And thank you for that contribution. And you've highlighted the strong role of market research in enabling industry to be able to develop much further, as you've talked about now, the connection with your researchers who are students, being able to now connect with industry. So for the Moi University, how exactly have you been involved with the Wambugu apple? Yes, the university is planting the apple. Could you please tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, Moi University, while some institutions were still, doubting whether it is possible to go into this apple farming, Moi University, with the strong leadership of the council, our chairman of council, Dr. Anthony Njuguna, is so passionate, and the entire Moi University leadership has bought the idea of this apple farming. So we have engaged Wambugu to supply us with Wambugu apple variety, and we have planted already 80 acres of apples. And we anticipate to finish the other 20 acres within this financial year 2022-2023 to ensure that we have the 100 acres done. And then in the next 5 years, we are targeting to have planted 1,000 acres of land. Moi University is endowed with land. We have actually 3,000 acres of land. So we are targeting within 5 years, we should have done the 1,000. And maybe I should mention why really prompted us to go into the apple farming. At the moment, most of the universities in the country are facing financial challenges. Why? Because of low funding from the government. And the only solution for us, and even other universities, is we must involve ourselves in income generating activities. And for us, apple farming is a solution. Thank you.
The context that you bring in on this also becoming an income generation activity, or an income generator for the higher education institutions, I think that also brings in now another tangent or another angle of a value add to the higher education institutions. And talking about the opportunities that are there for students, the opportunities that are there for the lecturers and professors, the Wambugu apple has opportunity to grow even in varieties. So what would you say as how the university would probably be able to now advance this relationship so as to grow this, if I call it indigenous developed innovation? Yes, please.
Well, that's a very nice question. Yeah, Moi University being a comprehensive university, so we have various disciplines. And as a university, we are committing ourselves to ensure that we are able now to bring on board the researchers who are cutting across various fields to ensure that they have an input in this apple farming. And we will bring in, researchers maybe from agriculture, from horticulture. Some will be focusing on maybe raising a new, from the nursery level. Then, as you mentioned, the aspect of value addition in between. So we are bringing in people from food nutrition. We are bringing in people even from chemistry and biochemistry. We are thinking of how at some point even be able to produce wine from apple and juice and things like those. So it's an area that not only researchers will be involved, but also the postgraduate students and even all the way up to the undergraduate level. Yeah.
Okay, and with that then I really hear that the Moi University can actually be part of the growing and the exporting journey of KAGEA throughout the entire chain. We have a lot of challenges in the value chain when it comes to the agricultural sector. What advice would you give to KAGEA at this point of starting and launching, as the association is being launched, to be able to enhance the value out of the value chain?
Yeah, always behind any challenge or any issue that needs an answer, the best is always to identify the right partner to work with. Partnership is key. So when we network, we will always find a solution by working together, find ways of sharing facilities, find ways of sharing, the kind of collaborations that our partners have with us. And with that, we should be able to solve and make our lives easy.
Okay, you're here as Moi University, and as you just indicated, as an institution that's actually already growing. Today at the launch of the Kenya Apple Growers and Exporters Association, at the conference today, there's over 500 farmers here. What would be your message for them?
Yeah, I would really encourage them that they stay focused in growing apples. Always engage the other partners to ensure that they get a solution or they get advice in whichever areas that they find to be of challenge. But at this moment also, I would also maybe say that as a university we also have some challenge, and the challenge is how maybe to get some kind of support in terms of funding so that we're able, instead of taking longer time to plant up to the 1,000 acres, then if you could find whether well-wishers or people who could give us some form of financial support, then we are able to expand rapidly and be able to realize the benefits of apple farming.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you for these conversations, Professor Ambrose Kiprop, who is the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Administration, Planning and Strategy at the Moi University in Kenya, for this interview with him. As you've heard from Sir Professor Ambrose Kiprop, Moi University is open for partnerships as they grow the acreage to 1,000 acres of the Wambugu apple. So I thank you, Sir Professor Ambrose Kiprop, for this interview and wish you a good day. Asante sana.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a pleasant day too. Try to be quick, and remember when you are also presenting and you are between lunch hour, it's not the best thing. Otherwise you start people seeing you and wondering what is wrong with you.
And I'm delighted to introduce to you Dr. Frederick Simasiku from Namibia. Dr. Frederick, karibu sana.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And Dr. Frederick will be sharing with us some insights on what made him come all the way to Kenya here for this auspicious launch today, based on his area of study, his area of work, and the opportunity that he sees of innovating for the development of Africa. Dr. Frederick, kindly if you may tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to thank you for having me here. My name is, as mentioned, Dr. Frederick Simasiku from Namibia. My background is in teaching. I studied teaching, then I went on to do graduate studies in environment and sustainability, as well as PhD level environment and sustainability, Stellenbosch University, South Africa. What actually been involved in various aspects of the education sector, as well as the environmental aspect. So my goal of coming here is actually, we have a weakness, I would say, many African higher education institutions, they are interested in producing knowledge and theory, and it remains in university. So my interest is actually at the intersection of sustainability, innovation and entrepreneurship, application of the knowledge and innovative aspect. For instance, I come here in Kenya because of the innovation that was done here by the Wambugu apple, and part of the innovation, two approaches to innovation: endothermic innovation and exothermic innovation. Exothermic innovation is to acquire ideas and knowledge, innovation from other countries, incorporate them in your national system and produce something of value. Here we have the Wambugu apples that I actually, through my passion in practical implementation of innovation and entrepreneurship, I've established a startup organization called Xerophytic Agriculture, which is actually translated into dryland agriculture, arid agriculture. So I'm trying to create value from a place where people think you can't get anything from. We are semi-arid and arid area in Namibia. So bringing the apples to Namibia, start up this enterprise and delivering to the market will actually contribute two aspects to our ambitious goal as a country, Namibia. The first ambition is to promote sustainable development, sustainable rural development, through, of course, entrepreneurship activities that this Wambugu apples production can bring. So we are trying to address two challenges with one aspect of this. That is what brought me here in Kenya.
Okay, and it's quite interesting when you talk about the intersection between innovation and sustainability. And when it comes to now the apple growing and exporting, what more can you see as the opportunity for rural development and generally even the development in Africa?
The development would be, thank you for that question. I see here an opportunity of contributing immensely to the sustainable development goals. What I do observe here at the intersection of sustainability, innovation and entrepreneurship is that we can actually link smallholder farmers to international markets. For instance, through establishing of various business models that promote sustainability, that promote development. For instance, rural farmers have been looking for alternative ways of increasing the crop yields, alternative crops. Here we have an innovation that is born in Africa, advanced and developed in Africa for the benefit of Africa. So with innovation, you actually create alternative value chain apart from the usual traditional crop of maize, sorghum, sunflower, so forth. You have a fruit that can adapt to any climate, and with it can be embraced by any smallholder farmer, and we can have other bigger entrepreneurs who can actually establish some sort of an outgrower scheme, some sort of an inclusive business model, incorporating these various smallholder farmers into their business model and encourage trade. That is where I see the benefit, and it is out of organic practice, organic farming practice. So it is environmentally friendly, economically sustainable as well. They are not much labor intensive. So I see this innovation as one of the best ways to address many challenges of rural development, not only for my country but for the entire continent.
Africa.
Yes.
And with that, we have just heard from Dr. Frederick Simasiku from Namibia, who is an educationist, and the greatest lesson I believe we take away from today is that the intersection of innovation, sustainability and entrepreneurship is in the development of new business models to encourage growth of trade in Africa. Asante sana, Daktari, and we look forward to be able to connect with you some other time. So I thank you for joining us and have a good day.
Next time we meet, I'm going to tell you how many seedlings I have on my land.
Ola, welcome to Kenya.
Thank you. Asante.
Ola will give us a very good background on his experience of not only planting the Wambugu apples in Nigeria, but also the grit and the determination that drives him as a person. Ola, would you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, my name is Tomori Olani Shebe Christopher. I'm from Nigeria, from the Yoruba tribe in Nigeria, and I'm happy to be here today. My first degree is in physics from the University of Ibadan, and my second degree is also in biomedical engineering from the same university. I'm happy to be here. I've learned a lot from this, and I can say without any iota of doubt, if you are thinking there is something that is not possible, because it is termed impossible, means it is actually possible. It is impossible because it has not been done. At the moment somebody starts doing it, you can just add the hyphen there at the top, then it becomes I am possible. So all these things have been termed impossible because nobody has ever dared to do it. And that has stopped so many people from doing it, because when they hear it's impossible, they just turn back and go home. So, but somebody took it upon himself to do it and achieve this. And we are here today to the glory of the Lord. And everybody can now say it is possible, it can work, it is working, and it will continue to work. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we say that I am possible.
I am possible.
I am possible.
Yeah.
And we have the evidence of the Wambugu apples. I am possible.
Yes.
What's been your journey with the Wambugu apples? And today, now that you're here in Kenya for the auspicious launch of the Kenya Apple Growers and Exporters Association, KAGEA, what's been your journey and connection with this particular initiative?
Yes, I came across Wambugu ambassador about 7 years ago when there was nothing like YouTube videos, and through a training in Nigeria that was organized by some fellows, maybe for monetary value. They look for experts all over the world, they bring them, and their aim is not just to make people gain their target is, because of what I've discovered, is just to make the money at the moment and move on. So not all of them actually believe in the dream of apple growing, but to attract people to come for the program, they added apple as one of the things. So people rushed down in their multitude to come and see how is it possible. But unfortunately, when they got to the program, the Wambugu ambassador, the person of Kate Wambugu, stood up and spoke, but she could not convince so many people. They were not convinced that it's possible. But I've always known that it's possible. And immediately I hear somebody is doing it, it means it's actually, the dream has actually become a reality. So since that time, I've been following her footsteps, learning and coming to Kenya to take seedlings, to plant, and I've been growing day in, day out. And I can say today now we have Wambugu apple growing in Nigeria and producing. And we've been crunching, eating the apples. In almost every part of the country, the tree has been planted because Nigeria is very diverse. It has a lot of the rainforest, the savanna, the desert, and the cold region, the plateau. So you can, we have tried the seedlings, the tree in every part of the country, and they are doing well to the glory of the Lord.
Okay, that is an interesting journey 7 years ago.
Yes.
And what's been the motivation for you as Ola?
Yes, my motivation has always been to make what has not been possible possible. Because of the fact that it is not possible, I took it upon myself. Although it is possible, somebody is doing it somewhere, but some people around the world in Africa still don't believe that it is possible. So I put it on my head to start sounding the alarm. So like a madman on the street, on the internet, everywhere, I get evicted from groups, I get blocked on Facebook from just telling people that apple can grow. And to the glory of the Lord today, they can come and see. And they are the people now going around now, taking the message everywhere that this apple is doing wonders. So I've always been motivated.
Okay.
I was not coming to be motivated. I've always been motivated, looking for something that has not been done to ensure that it's possible. Somebody is doing it and sound the alarm, make it a success for the person doing it. And that has been my journey. And I give glory to the name of the Lord for where He has brought us today, KAGEA. Because when I was doing everything like a blind man, I didn't know I was walking towards this place. I didn't know KAGEA would spring out. I didn't know Kenya would start exporting apples. I didn't know thousands of people all over the world. So I was just trying to do what I can do till I live on earth, do everything in my power, so that history can have it that somebody in Nigeria actually, even if I did not succeed, because whenever I tell people, I know I will be accountable to whatever I told them. So that's one of the reasons why I told people. I would have given up if I did not tell anybody that apple can grow. If I mitigate, buy the seedling and plant it secretly, and even if it dies, I will just give up from there. But because I tell people that I'm now planting apple, not just anybody, people that will call me to account for. So I made up my mind to achieve it. So it's like crawling out of your shell and breaking the shell. So there's no going back until it is done. So I'm happy to be here today because we are working we are not where we are going to, but we are moving towards the destination.
So Ola, on this auspicious launch event for the Kenya Apple Growers and Exporters Association, there's more than 500 farmers at this launch event at the Ole Sereni Hotel. How does that make you feel? You know, having started this journey 7 years ago, how does it make you feel?
I feel elated that I have been part of this journey. I wish I have been the part of this journey since the onset. Mr. Wambugu started over 40 years ago, and he has been doing it. Imagine 7 years ago, all we could have to show outside the world is just a video of him planting and some pictures of apple, and not enough to convince anybody that it is possible. So the glory of the Lord today, it is success. And not only in Africa, every other places that it has not been done. This apple is going there to change the way the world look at agriculture, to change the world look at a lot of other things. It's going to change impossibility for so many things. So you have to go back to the world and imagine when the people were walking, and some people were imagining flying in the air. So that was where we were several years ago. We were thinking we want to fly, and some people were saying, how do you lift up from the ground and fly in the air? Are you insane? But to the glory of the Lord, the result is here to show for it.
I really acknowledge the journey that you've had as with the Wambugu apples, all the way from Nigeria, and as you tell us that there is acreages and acreages of the Wambugu apples in Nigeria, and we are delighted to have you at the launch event for the KAGEA here in Kenya. What would be your message for the younger generation, possibly let me say younger and young as yourself, as you say, the Wambugu apples, Mr. Wambugu digging on the farm and starting to plant over 45 years ago. What would you say to the younger generation today as your parting shot?
The younger generation should need to know that this world is not about what you get at present. It's about what you are working to get. Whatever reward you get at now is nothing compared to what you will get if you work closely, especially to my fellow Nigerian youth. Don't ever work for a profit that you get at the moment. It ends there. It's like you are eating a sweet food, and immediately you drink the water, you hardly remember the taste of the food. But when you are preparing a delicious food that you can eat for generations, You have to walk a walk that will ensure that you will always be happy. You always want to push ahead. You know, when you wake up in the morning and you're happy to do what you do, that is the only way you can be fulfilled on this earth. But doing a job that's just for the money, just for the gain, Wambugu Apple started when the man was not just doing it to ensure that this is possible, not for the money, but the money came afterwards. So don't ever do anything because you want the money. Do it because you want to make a mark. You want to change the world and you want to achieve your purpose. We are all here to achieve one thing or the other. As a person myself, I believe where God is taking me, I'm not yet there. I have a very long way to go and I'm eager to proceed. I'm happy where Wambugu is today and I know with the help of the Lord, it's going somewhere higher. So to the coming generation, don't ever work for something that doesn't last. Work for something that is everlasting. Something that will always be called to remember. Something that you always have a reason to remember. That is the only way to be successful on earth. So you need to be able to reach lives. So you have to be truthful with everything you do. Because I've been termed a scammer because I'm doing something that looks like scam. And in real sense, if you look at it, it's only so anybody that wants to scam you will tell you apple can grow. When other even the indigenous tree are struggling to grow. But one way or the other, it's growing. So you don't have to walk the walk of how do I put it? You want to gain a fast money because that's what is all over the world now. Children are not born to grow into process, to take up an assignment and complete it. They just want to get to the end of the road and be rich the first day they started. Nobody wants to work for it. They just want to wake up with riches in their bank, money. They want to live large. They don't want to start from where Wambugu started, from digging the ground, planting like a poor farmer. They want to be rich at that moment. So when they see an opportunity, they look for a way to just manipulate and get the riches. And it doesn't last. It actually cuts short the lifespan. So if you want to live long, if you want to achieve your purpose on earth, you must make sure you put yourself in a position or do something that will ensure that it will continue to live after when you have gone. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The message that we get today from Tomori Ola, Christopher from Nigeria, is it's about the legacy. And please remember this, wealth asked you to do it. I thank you for our conversation and wish you well. God bless you. Asante sana.
Thank you, Mana.
Thank you
for having me.
Interesting when you said, when you just said thank you. Where did you get that from?
That's from Kikuyu.
Yes.
Yes, I've been working with them for a long period of time, so I can now greet in Kikuyu.
Would you like to greet into our camera?
Yes. Degio Mana. Thank you very much for having me.
Amazing. Okay. Asante sana.
Yes, karibu.
Interesting. Thank you.
Then I'm happy Nigeria is always finding a way into the midst of everywhere. The biggest flag here, I don't know if it is a coincidence. That is a complete Nigerian flag, is the biggest flag here, and we are ably represented. Thank you very much.